Happy Thursday, everybody. Thank you so much for downloading or streaming the Be Our Guest podcast. The following is the live call-in show from this past Sunday night, June 9th, 2024. During the show, we take your calls because, well, it wouldn't be an open line without phone calls. We get some great calls about a great Walt Disney World vacation from listener Paul. He talks about his time over at the Grand Floridian Villas. We have a fun discussion because he went around to the Enchanted Rose late one night and couldn't get in. And then he went over to Trader Sam's before posted closing time, couldn't get in. So we have the discussion there as to what to do so you don't have that happen to you. We also get a great call from Rogers down in Arkansas. And we talk about his first experience with Disney Cruise Line on the Disney Wish and an amazing 4-park adventure with his 8-year-old daughter and some things that happened with lost luggage. Just lots of fun discussions on the show. So we hope you enjoyed today's call-in podcast. Don't forget, our podcast always brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. We'd love to help you plan your next Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line, or Adventures by Disney trip. The best part, no cost to you. Check out all the details today over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link. It's beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. That's just one extra click, and it supports the show each and every time. Use it as often as you can. Again, beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And a huge thank you to our Patreon supporters. You make all these shows possible. We could not do this without our Patreon All-Stars. So thank you so much for that. You can become one as well, just $5 a month. And as a thank you, we give you a bonus show every week. It's called Mike in the Midwest. So come join us today. It's patreon.com/Be Our Guest Podcast.
Ready to take a trip to the world? You found the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. This is where your memories come front and center on our podcast stage.
Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to the BOGP Open Line for Sunday night, June 9th, 2024. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Sunday night. Happy anniversary to my wife tomorrow. That's right, 18 years. Holy cow. She's an angel to put up with all this. Speaking of another person who, not an angel, but he's a good buddy, my best bud, actually, co-host of the Be Our Guest podcast and the amazing vlogger who is being recognized at restaurants worldwide from Must See Adventures. Your friend and mine, hashtag Scotty G. What's up, Scott?
Happy Sunday, Mike. You beat me to it, but it makes sense you give the anniversary shout out to your wife. I was going to start off by, I know I'm a day early, but happy anniversary to you.
Appreciate it.
So I know you don't have the most exciting plans for your anniversary, but you know what? You're going to celebrate in just a few short weeks on the Disney Fantasy, and that's going to be awesome.
We are hitting all the ships and all the continents over the next month, and so we'll have lots to talk about here on the show.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, like I couldn't believe it. I'm just at our local Blaze Pizza, you know, I know a lot of people tie that to Disney. Like we had a Blaze before the Disney Springs one, so I don't really have that connection really, but we're just hanging out and this guy just keeps like looking over, like he's kind of like staring me down. And like, I'm like, this is kind of weird. Like, what's this guy doing? And then he comes over, is like, hey. And I'm like, oh my God, like does this guy like listen to the Be Our Guest podcast or something? Was like my initial thought. He's like, did you make that golf vlog about like Timber Trace golf course? And like, get out. Like, what are the chances? So it was funny being recognized for the vlog video, the golf one of all things too, man. It was just so funny.
Yeah, I still remember the first time I was recognized at Epcot. Like it was so funny because I was there with the girls. Like the show had just started. It was two sisters, and they still listen to the show. I booked their trips. One is now a pediatric surgeon. They're both married now, and just great women. And I just remember they came up to me, and just my wife, like her reaction. That somebody came up and said, "Are you Mike that does the Be Our Guest podcast?" Like. Her eyes rolled so hard. Her eyes rolled like a 13-year-old girl. And I was so excited that somebody actually recognized me. That was my first time anybody ever, like, I didn't know anybody even listened to the show. You know, you could see like download numbers, but I'm like, that could be a robot just making fun, you know, like some kind of, I don't know, like they say, you know, the numbers get padded in overseas. I was like, that's probably what's happening. Somebody at Epcot sent these two girls. I got my picture like between them. I was like, this is the best. Like, you two listen to my show. Yes. And so, you know, we still communicate. I book their travel sometimes, and it was amazing. But it's a cool thing when somebody just says, hey, you know, I listened to your show. But now, back then we didn't have anything that was live. I mean, this was 2008. So you didn't really know. Like right now we have interaction, we have calls, which we're going to do here in a second.
It's how much what you have built, you know, because like even I get that when I'm at Disney, and I'm just Scotty G, man. Like I'm not a big deal. But the best part about it though, Mike, and like you were kind of talking about it too, is that your family was there. Like I needed the witness, you know, like because I golfed today with my normal Sunday golf group, like my brother and Jake, and like I had to tell them that story, obviously, right? Because they were in that vlog. And like they were just cracking up, and I was like, and I'm not making this up. Like I have Elizabeth and Emily. At least I have witnesses. If anyone ever doubts me, my two family members saw this interaction happen. And I told the guy, like, put a comment out there so I like could know like what his information was. So he commented, and he said, if you all ever need a fourth, hit me up. I'd love to play with you guys.
Nice. And it's cool that he's local. Funny. I mean, what are the chances he'd be local? That's super cool.
Clearly he has some good taste, and he was at Blaze Pizza, right? So
yeah, I mean, what was your pizza of the night, by the way? What'd you have?
So I did a build your own. I went Italian sausage, pepperoni, mushroom, and onion.
Not bad.
And then I put the oregano and like salt and pepper on top too. So it was pretty good, pretty solid.
We used to have a Blaze here. It went out of business.
Really?
Yeah. I think pre-COVID it went out of business.
I know we have a topic. We're going to be talking about stuff. You know what kind of like bugged me about this though? I mean, I don't know. I've seen this at other places too. Like they do mobile orders, or like, you know, you can order on the app or whatever, and orders are coming in, and I'm standing there. The guy has already started mine. Like he wrote my name on the piece of paper and Liz and Emily's, and then like three mobile come in, and they started making them.
Yeah.
Like,
bugs me. Yeah. Like, people in person should always be first, priority one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or just do something like have like a back room where you do the mobile orders or something.
Yeah,
so I don't
agree.
100%. You know?
That's a pet peeve of mine too.
It's like Arqdoba, like in East Lansing does that. Like they have like a special like side building next door that is just for like catering and online orders. Like that's what I'm talking about. So then like I don't get to see that. So I mean it was fine. I got to talk to that guy, but it's like it took like 20 minutes to order my pizza because they're like making all these other ones in front of me. But that's all right, you know, that's all good. Like I was patient.
One of our famous TV reporters did a expose about that because she was like a fancy restaurant, right? And the server came out and said, sorry it's so long to take your food, we're getting killed with DoorDash orders. She's sitting at her table waiting like 45 minutes for her food to come out of the kitchen. She's like, I'm here, I'm with this restaurant. Same thing.
And I'm gonna be leaving a gratuity and all that, you know, like
don't tell me
but
that.
I mean, anyway. I understand the business wants to crank out orders, but it's frustrating when the mobile orders are cutting you when you're right there in line. But
I hear
anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about.
Hey, but mobile order at Walt Disney World, it is the best. So do it. Get it. Swoop past everybody. I'm just saying it was great before COVID. It's awesome after COVID.
If you want to make guys like Scotty G mad that are in line, like waiting and like do the mobile order.
And by the way,
I like the mobile order too, though. But.
One last food note: the Cheez-It tostada at Taco Bell is fire. I think. It's $4. I almost fell out when I saw it was $4 because I ordered it tonight with my meal, and I replaced my cheesy roll up, which is 99 cents. So when my bill came due, I was like, whoo, that was a big difference.
Yeah.
Fire. That thing is so good, but I don't know if I'm going to order it every time.
So is that
so expensive?
I remember a couple of years ago when we went to Disneyland, they were testing it out in Southern California.
Oh, were they? I don't know. It's the first time I've had it. I think it was.
Okay, so I wonder if it's just like that was like the test because I think like their headquarters are out there, so they're like doing like they do all like a bunch of test stuff over there. So maybe it's coming all over now because it's in Missouri. It sounds like.
Yeah, I'm just saying if it's limited time, you better rush. Don't run. Don't walk to your nearest bell. I'm just saying.
Or take the horse as you.
Yes, we do have a horse at our horses going through Taco Bell at our high school rival. So get there. Okay, so we'll get to the Disney news. Let's talk. You can give us a call. It's your show for the next hour. 407-413-9395. 413-WDW5. We could talk and do that. So let's hear what you got to say. Scotty G, we've seen some news this week. Right now, there's a lot of influencers down at Walt Disney World. They're back off the Disney Magic. Pam is down there. And tonight, I believe they are at Epcot because they are debuting Communicore Hall at Epcot tonight. They're going to show off the new space where there's going to be character meet and greets. stuff like that. How excited are you for Communicore Hall? Because it looks like Epcot is just about to be done.
I give it an 8 out of 10 right now. Excitement level. Like, I'm still kind of confused as what it might be fully, but I think there's a lot of potential there. Character meet and greets, like, sign me up for that. I feel like maybe they could be doing a little bit more in that space, but I think that's where the Coco show is going to be too. I think, right?
I agree.
Like
I think.
Yeah. So I think it's going to be a cute space. I want to see it, but like I'm very up on it right now. I'm giving it an 8 out of 10 for my excitement level.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's a big building, right? It's got to be some kind of private use space as well, kind of mixed space, like flex space. Lots of character meet and greets. The show. Let's look at what it replaced, though. Interventions back in the day. What I love this space, but maybe it hit me at the right time with my family because I know it wasn't what people went to Epcot for, but I loved Where's the Fire? I love the Great Piggy Bank Adventure. And I know that that was the last thing like you walked into the park for, but to me, it supplemented the Epcot experience, and you did the character meet and greet if you had a Disney Visa in there. Did you guys do that stuff most trips, or did you skip it? The big fire truck, that kind of stuff.
Do we have like a tote bag? I mean, we have like this bag of like stuff, like remember when you go to like character meals and they like take the photo of you like with the princesses and
and they like a keychain and
so I have this whole thing of just like stuff like that. There must be like at least, I kid you not, at least 20 photos because you would get the photo with when you did the character meet and greet and interventions, and we'd always go get it on our way out to Camera Center and have so many of those. But yeah, Where's the Fire? The Great Piggy Bank was my favorite. I absolutely love that. But you know what pains me the most that we're missing? The interventions background loop, man. That was the best background music loop of all time.
It lives on with our podcast because I play it about every 2 weeks in the background.
Like, does that not like put a smile on your face when you hear that? I just think of like the early days of my family going to Epcot, like that was just the best. We'll always have the music downloadable or like searchable on YouTube and stuff. But like, man, I just miss hearing that music in the park. That's honestly what I miss the most, but I'm excited to see the new space too, though.
Yeah, I am too. And did time just move slower back then? Because, they say you can't do it anymore with that. When Epcot started, they could use Future World as it was called back then. Now it's World Discovery, but they could use it for a showcase for new technology. Remember, I mean, I don't know if you ever got in there and played like the new video consoles.
Yeah, the Xbox machines and
Segas and stuff like that. I mean, do they move? I mean, the play. I don't know. I feel like it. We got our first call, so let's grab this. But I mean, how fast do consoles go? I mean, I don't think they go that far, but let's get our first call. Hey, who's joining us?
Hey, Mike. Hey, Scott. It's Paul Westbrook from New Jersey.
Paul, what's going on? Happy Sunday.
It's been a little bit, man.
It has been a little bit. I wanted to get to call in and missed a few Sundays, and it's the highlight of my usual, week or every other week. So I love talking to you guys.
Good deal.
I was a little late on the start tonight. Didn't jump over here till about 11 after. Scott, how did the golf go this morning?
I did not shoot the 94 as you predicted. I'm going to say that. The course was great though. Wide fairways. The last hole is 100 yards. It's the length of a football field wide. So if you miss that, you're in trouble. But the course was great. Greens were good. We just weren't hitting the ball that well today, but that's fine. We were a little rusty. It's been a few weeks.
No, I saw the picture on Instagram. Looked beautiful. The place looked absolutely gorgeous. I was really confident in that 94 too. I'm not going to say I lost the money, putting a Vegas bet in, but that's okay.
I will tell you, I beat Bob straight up though, so that tells you like how bad like everyone was playing today. So if you had me with the points, and then if you would have did the money line on me, then you did really well today in Vegas. Yes.
Oh, cha-ching, right? Yeah, cha-ching. I wanted to start off by asking both of you guys a question, and letting you run with it. If you guys could have a free Disney cruise to any destination you want, any itinerary, you don't have to say what it is. Length doesn't matter. It's just one length of cruise. Or you're guaranteed, this doesn't count your current cruise, Mike, because I know how excited you are for it. Or you're guaranteed your college football team makes the college football playoffs and you can't cruise Disney for 5 years. What are you taking?
Oh, that's easy, dude. Mizzou all the way, dude. Put us in the playoff. That's the holy grail, man, for a Mizzou fan. You kidding? Because Scott's team's been in.
I'm about to say my team's already made the college football playoff, so I'm going with the Cruise.
Yeah, I see. We've been ranked number one. We got into the year Mallory was born, 2008. We were number one right at the end, and we got screwed over in the polls by the pollsters, and they put Kansas ahead of us, and we're still bitter. And but this is the year. I feel it, man. I feel it. I would give a lot of stuff for to be in the playoffs. So yes, I would make that trade.
Paul, I love the question. That's fabulous. I'm gonna go with the Cruise because Michigan State's already made the playoff, and I love cruising too. And oh man, it's tough. It's a tough question, but I gotta know, what are you doing? Are you going with Rutgers or are you going cruising?
Oh, I'd trade I think I'm going to put tongue in cheek here. I'd trade a Rutgers winning season for the cruising. No, I'm going to take the Cruise. I mean, I'd love to go any destination. You know, I think the over-under for Rutgers wins this year is like 8 in Vegas, so should be a pretty good year. But the college football playoffs, the outside shot, I'll take that. I'll root for that in another year. I don't think I've cruised in like 6 years, guys. So I'll take the Cruise.
Oh, we gotta get you on a ship.
I love cruising. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's hard to turn down I love a cruise, but I mean, almost if Mallory had been a boy, I was going to name her after the Mizzou quarterback at the time. So I mean, these walls are Mizzou gold. So that tells you something.
Hey, it was great because I got each of you to give a different answer. I mean, Michigan State haven't made the playoff experience. That makes sense, but I know, on the Discord, and can't thank you enough. That is fabulous. It is so good to be able to jump on there and talk Disney anytime. But the Discord, there's a lot of sports, college football coming, fever, and I figured I'd capitalize on that.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be fun.
I didn't really have any other reason to call in. I thanked Scott for the couple recommendations. I got to Citricos finally. I was just down there last weekend. So if you will, a mini trip report. I was down there Friday. Got in all 4 parks, jumped around between, was lucky enough I could call it lucky enough. I started the trip of People Mover, ended the trip of People Mover a couple days later. So got in a bunch of, People Mover, Carousel Progress, Winnie the Pooh, a couple of classics for Magic Kingdom. Then we jumped over to Animal Kingdom, hit the Nomad Lounge, love that place. Got Kilimanjaro in, got Dinosaur in. Star Tours at Hollywood Studios, and then after a little break, got back to Guardians for, hopefully a different song because I'm still searching for a few. And I got I did get Disco Inferno, which was new for me.
That's a good one.
And then we ended up with Spaceship Earth. Have to say though, hit the Connections Cafe, hit that for a quick dinner. Oh, my wife's gluten free, so we hit those gluten free chicken fingers. They're like the best chicken fingers I've had in all property. Wow. Like they're worth the wait. Just
That's
for
a great
those.
tip.
It's a good tip.
Then the next day we just did a couple of my son was coming up with my granddaughter, so we just did a couple of Magic Kingdom things. Hit Grand Floridian Cafe for lunch, and I heard you comment on that, how good it was in that show a while back, Scott, with the pros of Grand Floridian. Hit the Grand Floridian Cafe. Did Trati al Forno for dinner with my other son, and then a little bit more Epcot on the Sunday. I got in some good rides. That's when we had our Citricos dinner. Another compliment to that show was, I think you talked, Mike, about the one bad thing about Polynesian. One of the cons was if you're building the building and it's pouring, you're getting wet.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, you are.
But it's so cool from the villas at Grand Floridian, it's covered for the main building.
That's a bonus. You're exactly right. Yep. Yeah.
It looks like you crammed a lot in just like a short few days.
Yeah, you did.
I'm sorry?
You got a lot done.
I have to say, my wife's pretty much, we've been there, blessed to be gone for 20 years, and, we've seen it all. I can take it at a relaxed pace. My daughter and son-in-law, who are big fans of Disney, we call ourselves the rocking chair group because of the rocking chairs at Old Key West. We like to just get back at night early, sit in those rocking chairs, recap the day, maybe a drink in hand from the suitcase, And that is a perfect day to us. A few rides, a nice meal, taking things in. My wife, nope, she's complete opposite, 100 miles an hour. So when it's a me and her trip, I might as well be one of those kids on the riff leash because I'm along for the ride. But it's fun. I mean, who doesn't like to do all those rides as much as you can do, so I can do it at either speed, and I'm grateful just to go.
It's a good attitude, and it's kind of the yin and the yang of everything with a relationship like that. Now, let me ask you one thing, because we were talking about this on the Discord, and not to be negative, but I found it super interesting when you brought this up about, I think it was your arrival day with your bad luck getting into the lounges and the closing times,
Yep.
and they kind of closed early because I believe you're staying at the Grand Floridian, so you're trying to just grab kind of a nightcap up at Enchanted Rose, and then you were told it was closed a little bit, maybe closed a little bit early or something, and then you tried to get over to Trader Sam's. Just what, not to be negative, but what were you told with that, and what was the situation? Just so people have an idea, because I found that kind of interesting, because I think a lot of folks are kind of looking to maybe on arrival night just grab a drink before bed, or just to kind of kick off vacation.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, not to complain, just to reiterate and always ask, always be careful of running around too much. So what happened is we didn't get to the hotel after the flight till probably about 10:50, and none of our magic bands worked. So we knew we were going to have to go back to the main building. So now we're walking there, just before 11 o'clock, and we get there, and we just didn't think the Enchanted Rose was open. We didn't know, so we went right to the front desk, asked the guy to help for our magic bands. He was great. He starts working on them. We asked him, because we're just downstairs. We said, "What time's the Rose open till?" He's like, "It's open till 11:30." And we're like, "Oh, are you sure?" Because we thought maybe 11. He goes, "No, it's open till 11:30. Fix the magic bands. This was a great memory. Me and my wife, well into our 50s, running up the stairs to go to the Rose, because we're thinking to ourselves, we got a little bit of time left. Let's enjoy this. Running up the stairs. She called me for cheating, taking 2 stairs at a time. Tough. Got to the top of the stairs first. It's a contest. We go to the Enchanted Rose, and the ropes are up, and there was a nice young lady there, cast member, and she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, we're closed." And we're like, "Oh, the guy downstairs said you were open till 11:30. She's like, "No, it's only till 11. And she's like, "Who told you that?" I mean, I didn't want to get anybody in trouble. I'm like, "It was just the guy at the front desk who fixed our magic bands. We were going to walk away." We're like, "Hey, no big deal. It's 11. It's 11. He goes, "Hold on. Let me talk to the manager and see if it could sit you." Because it's not like there was 20 of us. There was 2 of us, and nobody else was even asking. So she was really nice. She took about 5 minutes. And now it goes from 5 after 11 to about 10 after 11. She comes back to apologize. She's like, "The manager said it was already last call. So, we can't sit you, but if you want to come back." We're like, we'll be back the next night. She goes, "If you want to, go over to Trader Sam's because they're open till 12. And we're like, okay. So now we're game. We jump on the monorail. We get over to Trader Sam's, or to Poly. We ran through that lobby. Not ran, but we get over to exactly, I checked my phone, it was 11:39. The posted sign says 12 o'clock. Door's locked. All right. We walk outside, windows closed. We can hear them inside, the people inside, the clients. We walk back to the door, try it again, still locked, about to leave. Here comes a guy from the pool who was staying at the Poly. He may have had 1 or 2 drinks during the day because he was kind of in a jovial mood. He goes, "What are you guys doing here?" And I'm like, "I don't know. We're standing in the hallway." He goes, we were going to try to get in Trader Sam's." He's like, "They won't let you in?" And we're like, "No, I guess it's locked." He starts banging on the door.
Oh, no.
So I'm like almost embarrassed.
Oh, no.
Like, I'm going to take off. And this guy's just banging away until somebody answers the door. And this woman opens the door and she's like, "Can I help you?" And he's like, "Yeah, these people want a drink." And we're like, just kind of standing there. And she's like, "Well, I'm sorry, we're closed." And he goes, "It says open till 12 right on the wall." She's like, "Well, yeah, it does say open till 12, but we took now mind you, it was 11:39. She goes, "We took last call a few minutes ago." And he's like, "That's not right. You post till 12 o'clock. These people should be able to get in." And we didn't make a fuss about it. She's like, "Well, I'm sorry, we're not going to be able to sit them." So my wife and I left. We forgot the walkway that was closed. So we kind of left in that direction, and the walkway is closed. We had to spin back past Trader Sam's, which was painful, get on the monorail and go home. But yeah, I guess that was the only lesson in there. Like, I didn't know they could. I know last call is when last call is, but I know last call could be early. And then we kind of got shut out. So, go to bed early. and then, kick off the next morning with Magic Kingdom. So
but it's good for everybody to know, because like when you're in a theme park, right? And I mean, it's all Walt Disney World, but the philosophy is in a theme park, if you say Magic Kingdom closes at midnight, if you jump in Space Mountain's line at 11:59, you're in. Even if you get on that ride at 1:30 in the morning, you're still fine. Like even if the park closes at midnight, if you jump in the line at 11:59, you're good, no matter how long that line's going to take to go. And so philosophically, that's a whole different story, that they're not letting you in 30 minutes prior to posted closing. Just so people know, because that's it's not a hike, but I mean, it's effort to go from the Grand Floridian to Trader Sam's at 11 o'clock at night. I mean, here I am, old man, but I mean, you lost an hour of sleep. You could have been, for the night if you're going to rope drop or something. Go ahead,
Scott. Does make sense from like a last call perspective, because like they'll want to do that early before they shut down, but it's not very clear. Like if, to your point, Mike, like everything else at Walt Disney World is a little different. So I think it would help if they would just say the lounge closes at 11.
I agree. Just make it consistent. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Something more uniform, but like it is true. You're in the mindset that, like you said, Mike, 11:59, you think I can get on the ride. So if I'm there before 12, I could be seated, but yeah, it would make sense if they just said everything, was shut down at the same time. I don't know why we didn't think of it. I think Top of the World might have been open to us till midnight, but
you'd have been going just around the monorail loop, like, please,
the
sir.
first ever monorail like pub crawl without any
nothing,
without anything consumed. Basically.
Exactly. Please, sir, can we get in this one? We've been denied at Enchanted Rose and Trader Sam's.
That isn't gonna. I'll tell you what, it could be a very popular vlog, Scott. It's not going to give me the same popularity as the guy who recognized you from the Timber Creek video.
That's right.
But a pub crawl with no drinks, that's unique.
That's right.
There you go.
Think of the what's that called? The screenshot or the little picture there for YouTube.
Thumbnail, yeah.
Thumbnail, exactly.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
I did a pub crawl and got no drinks.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's perfect.
Here's a little tease though for episodes. Well, the next one that we're gonna do, Mike might actually be on the thumbnail. Just saying.
Sweet. Yeah, that'll be ugly. All right. Hey, Paul, thanks for the call, and you have an awesome week, and don't be so long between calls, brother.
We'll do. Thanks, guys. You have a great week too.
You too. Talk to you soon.
Have a good one.
All right. Bye-bye. All right. So I got to ask you about this, Scotty G. So Pam got to go to Lighthouse Point this week. Lookout Key at Lighthouse Point. I'm trying to get it straight. I think that's what it is. It's too confusing.
It's going to take, take us.
Could be Lighthouse Key and Lookout Point, but I think it's Lookout. Now that I said it that way, I totally just hosed myself.
At Lighthouse Point. Or maybe it's backwards.
Now to set it backwards, so now to screw myself up forever. Anyway, the Magic went there. Now this was weird because it wasn't just a media preview cruise. This was an inaugural cruise. So general public
really? I didn't realize that.
Yes, general public could book this because I saw some people that were not media on this sailing. Like I know some of our agents that paid their way to go, and I saw some bloggers that were not media. They did not have media invites. They just bought their way. And so it was kind of a blend, right? Some people were there paid by Disney. Some people were not. So that the different perspectives, I think, when they do their coverage.
Sure.
What did you think from the coverage you saw? I just want to ask you.
So I know there's a controversial hot topic.
There is
on this.
It could be a long discussion.
It could be a very long-winded discussion. But I'm gonna talk about the beach. The beach looks fantastic, doesn't it? Like that crystal clear water. Just very nice looking. The food options, like the building of the food. I don't even know what the restaurant was called. I can't remember even what it was called.
I didn't either.
I'm gonna call it Cookies of Lookout Point. I know that's not what it's called though. Like the building itself looked kind of interesting to me, but like great food options. I was reading the menu that Pam and Jocelyn posted out there. Looked really great. Like the kids area looked really fun too. Like they have like a little like splash area or whatever, like a couple water slides.
Really great.
That looked really fun for the kids. But yeah, I thought the beach and like the water just looked really nice, really peaceful. I know there's something, about like where the ship docks, and it's going to take you a little while to get to that beach. But once you get there, it looks really gorgeous, I think.
Well said. I I'm right with you. It looks well.
And there's gonna be more to come, right? This is the first time they've opened it up to the public, right? So
right.
They're gonna learn from some things. Because I heard from one person, not from like our team that we know. It was from like a different media person that there are a lot of bugs kind of like flying around when they're having their meal. So like maybe they'll have to like adapt to that and figure out how to like repel those from happening, because like that never happens at Cookies when I'm on Castaway.
But this is probably the first time they've had that much food out, you know.
Exactly. So they're gonna learn some things for sure, but that walk though is kind of brutal looking. No shade. Like what is it, like a half a mile long? It's kind of brutal.
It is.
And I think for like disabled folks too, like people that like
my
need assistance. Yeah. Like that's rough.
We'll talk about that because I have some thoughts, and we're probably going to go there on the next podcast cruise. We actually,
sweet.
We are, which details coming soon in the next week or so. All right. We have our next call on the line. Who's joining us? Hello, caller. Hey, caller, you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes. Who's this? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Rogers from Arkansas. How are you guys doing tonight?
Good. What's going on?
Oh, Rogers, familiar voice.
Yeah. So just got back from our first Disney cruise.
Yes.
First ever cruise, and we had to do it on the Wish. And so I've got a question for you guys regarding cruising, but I also just want to take a second to brag on my daughter. We went down and did a day at Disney World before going and getting on the cruise. We did one day. We hit all 4 parks. She turned 8 years old the day that we got into Orlando, and it was our first trip for her to go without a stroller. And we did at least 3 attractions in all 4 parks in one day, and she walked almost 35,000 steps. So
what
I
are
want
you?
to give her a shout out to her, because
she's like a half marathoner.
Rogers, what are you doing to your daughter? You're kidding me? This is wild. Like, I only do 4 parks in one day once a year. That's called the marathon. That's the only time I do it because I'm a wimp. You're hardcore. I like it.
Yeah, well, we only had one day. Usually we go down to Disney World usually for a week. It's the same week every year. My daughter's birthday is June 1st, so we usually plan a trip around her birthday, and she knows it's her birthday trip. But last year they wanted to do a cruise, which I wasn't sold on. I am now, but I wasn't sold on it. And so, my argument was we need at least a day at Disney World. And I actually heard you talking about on some shows last week, Mike, you were talking about that first trip with the kids not in the stroller is brutal. And I was thinking, man, my daughter, she killed it. She killed it last week, last Saturday in the parks. We hit all 4 parks in one day. And like I said, read at least 3 attractions in every park. And so I've got to give her a shout out and give her some credit for what she did in the parks last week. So that was really cool.
Big shout out. Yeah. Big shout out for sure. Rogers, I have a question. I always am fascinated by the 4 parks in one day. Not to go in too much detail, but what was the order of parks? Got to know the orders. Did you snack, or did you do like a counter service or a table service? So if you could just tell us the order at least, like I'm very curious.
Yeah, so we did Animal Kingdom first because it opens first, right? And we were staying at Saratoga Springs. You guys know, big fans of Saratoga Springs. So we got in with the early entry, went and knocked out Flight of Passage, Everest, and Dinosaur. Grabbed a Joffrey's donut. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Joffrey's donut.
We are very familiar.
They're like a classic for us.
You're speaking of the pink donut, correct?
So my daughter got a pink one. I got a chocolate one. My wife got a chocolate one. I actually had to leave. So Mike, here you can get on your soapbox a little bit about getting into wherever you're selling from early, because our luggage was lost on our flight into Orlando. And if we would not have had that extra day, our luggage would not have made it on the ship with us. So
yes,
I actually had to leave Animal Kingdom Park, go to the airport to get our luggage. They went on to Hollywood Studios and got on Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway and Star Tours. And then actually had a magical moment. I was sitting on the bus stop by myself at Saratoga Springs, and one of the DDC vans rolled up. He's like, "Hey man, where are you going?" And I told him I was trying to get to Hollywood Studios. He's like, "Hop in, I'm going to give you a magical moment. I'll drive you over to Hollywood Studios." So I got there a lot quicker, and we knocked out Tower of Terror twice, actually. did Slinky Dog Dash and Toy Story Midway Mania. And
You
then
had like
went
a
over
whole
to
day in the
Epcot.
studios, it sounds like. You
Did
did
what
like
now?
everything.
You guys got a lot done. You guys were just.
We did.
Man.
We got a lot done. We went. We ate at 50's Prime Time for lunch. We decided to do like a late lunch instead of like a true dinner. And from there, we took the boat over to Epcot. So we rested our feet, just took a chill ride on the friendship boats over to Epcot. Knocked out Soarin', Living with the Land, and Guardians over there. And then ate at Connections Eatery. Got a couple slices of pizza there that were pretty good. And then again, and we did the Moana Journey of Water for the first time, which was actually really cool for an 8-year-old. And then took the monorail, again, took the opportunity to rest our feet, took the monorail to Magic Kingdom. And at Magic Kingdom, we knocked out Space Mountain, Tron, and Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. And so it was a good day. But like I said, Mike, keep preaching that you got to get there early, because our luggage would not have made it on the ship with us, even if we would have come in. So we got on the ship on Monday. If we would have flown in on Sunday and that happened, our luggage wouldn't have made it, because we were on the Disney transfer. I think we had to meet at 9 a.m. in the Saratoga Springs lobby to go to Port Canaveral. And it was almost 10 a.m. the day before when we got the notification that our luggage had made it into Orlando for us to go get it. So, but yeah, it was a great trip. And then, like I said, we hopped on the Wish. So I don't know if you guys have any other questions. I know I've been talking a lot. I do have a question for y'all. But if you guys had anything that you wanted to say, I feel like I'm just eating up the airtime here.
No, it's what the show's for. We love hearing this feedback, because that's amazing. And I love that you gave such great, like, step-by-step how you went to the parks. I'm glad Scott asked that. I love how you broke down. You did 50's Prime Time, late lunch, Connections. Eatery is a great place to kind of swing through. Scott always raves about the pizza. I still haven't had it, and I want to, because I always get that General Tso's chicken salad kind of thing over there. I really like that. But, yeah, I mean... and you're exactly right. You want to get there with ample time in case anything happens. You could have a mechanical issue with your plane. You could have weather. You had luck. Now you're going to give me another nightmare, though. I'm telling you, Rogers. Were you Southwest? What was your airline? Please don't say.
Yeah, we were Southwest.
No,
so we had a chance to go to Destin. We did a family trip with my dad, kind of an extended family trip down in Destin. We went down there on Wednesday. And we're there until Saturday. Had beautiful weather at the beach up until we were heading to the airport that morning, and there was rain, like pretty torrential downpour. So our flight was delayed, which caused us to miss our connecting flight at Nashville. They had plenty of time to get the luggage on the plane. For whatever reason, it just didn't make it onto the flight with us down to Orlando. Thankfully, had an air tag. Here's another pro tip.
Yes.
Throw an air tag in your checked luggage.
I have that.
And then you can see it, once you land, and kind of have an idea of where it's at. And so from there, we went. That was actually my daughter's birthday, the day that our luggage got lost. So we were trying to stay positive, for her, because we're usually there on or around her birthday. So we got there, and I actually went to go get a haircut. I used to go to Artist Shaving all the time, and that shop is closed down. Those guys have opened up spots all around Orlando. So I went and saw my barber. And my wife and daughter went to Disney Springs. We ended up having dinner at Boathouse, got to see the drone show over at Disney Springs that night, and then just said, you know what, we're going to make the most of it. Worst case scenario, we go to Target, we buy a bunch of clothes to take on the cruise with us. You know what I mean? And so it was a great trip. It really was. It was awesome. But yeah, it was Southwest that we were on. We did get a $200 credit. So, that was kind of worth it, because we're planning a trip for December, and so we're going to use that towards our flight. So it all worked out.
Yeah, I mean, that in hindsight, that's good. You got the credit, but yeah, when you got to connect, we have a direct flight 5:30 in the morning, so I'll sleep better because we're direct. We're not connecting, so it's really hard to lose. I'm not saying they can't. I'm just saying it's harder to lose your luggage on a direct flight, because I do sit there because I get a window seat and I'm always first one on. I watch, just make sure my luggage gets on that when they load it, because I sit right by the hole where they put them in.
We normally do a direct flight too, and it's easier first off with a child, right, with a kid, and so it's like direct flight all the way. But because we did that extra stop at Destin this year, we didn't have that luxury. There was no direct flights out of Destin, and so But it all worked out. It really did. It worked out. It was very stressful. You know, the thought of getting on the cruise without our all the luggage that we had packed was a little bit stressful, but it all worked out. They got our luggage there. I'm not going to lie, we did have PTSD about letting the shuttle, you know, they come pick up your luggage whenever you do the transfer to Port Canaveral at like 7 o'clock in the morning. And we had PTSD about it, but we've gotten to have a pretty good relationship with one of the bellmen there at Saratoga Springs. Shout out to Greg if he's listening. And he happened to be the one that came to our room to get our luggage. And he told me, he's like, Rogers, we do this all the time. I will make sure that it gets on the truck and makes it to the cruise line. So he talked me off a ledge that morning. So it wound up working out.
That's good to hear.
That's great.
Real quick though, over on Instagram, FPS Spot says, so impressed that your daughter could do all that with no stroller. She says her 10-year-old was fighting with her 5-year-old for the stroller by the end of most days of their trip. So the 10-year-old was ripping the 5-year-old out of the stroller to get back in. And I've seen that many, many times. So shout out to your daughter and happy birthday to her. So real quick, give us a couple highlights of the Wish. What did you think of the Disney Cruise Line experience as first time cruiser?
It was awesome. We were sold on it. Like I said, it was a little bit stressful getting on. We kind of had hiccups all the way there. One of my AirPods fell underneath the seat, not like underneath the seat, like into one of the seats on the motor coach. So I lost my headphone on the way there. I was able to get it back. Then my sunglasses broke while we were standing in the terminal waiting to get on so it was just a little bit stressful with all the luggage and everything. But once we got on and got our luggage to our room, we really, really liked it. That was kind of what my question was to you guys. So I know that you guys have said you don't prefer the Wish over the other ships. The Wish is the only ship that we're on, that we've been on. So it's going to have a special place in our heart, right? Because it was our first ship. But I know that it's the largest ship in the fleet right now, and we really liked it. Again, it's all we know. But we have watched videos of, you know, the Fantasy, the Wonder, the Magic, the Dream. And one of the things that stood out to us is we're like, oh man, they look tiny compared to the Wish. And so that was my question for you guys. What is it that you like about the other ships compared to the Wish? But overall, the cruise was great. Shows were amazing. Aladdin was phenomenal. That was one of the shows that night. Marvel was cool. You know, the Worlds of Marvel dinner was cool. Wasn't as big of a fan of Arendelle, but we got lucky. It was a 4-night, and we got to do 2 nights in 1923. So
yes,
that worked out really good. But yeah, we loved it. Aquamouse was great. The ship overall was just great, and just like you guys say all the time, I mean, the service from those crew members on the ships is just phenomenal. They were fantastic. Really, they were amazing.
Okay, so hang with us, Rogers, because I want you to get your feedback from what we say, but I want Scott to take this first, because that is a great, great question. I'm glad you asked that as somebody who only has sailed the Wish. But Scott, how would you answer that? Because I think Pam and I have talked about this many times over dinner.
And that makes sense for Rogers. Like, the Wish will always connect with you and your family because that was your first one. And that might always be your forever one, because my answer for my favorite one was also the first one I went on, and that was the Dream. And Rogers, what I like about the Dream are like the public areas are like better to me. Like the D lounge, like there's just more space. So like on the Wish, they have like that Luna area, like where they like the 2-tier like room where they do like trivia and like family activities. And like I mean the space seems sort of nice. Like I like the upper thing, but it just seems small to me. I know it's weird because it's like 2 levels, but it just seems small compared to what you would have in a similar room on the Dream. It's more I find myself better seating. Like the place across from the Luna, I can't remember what it was, where like my daughter and Mallory and Lindsay, they would do like karaoke like all the time. You'd go in that room and people were just laying out on the floor because there's like no seating.
It almost felt like it was a conference room or something, like a kind of a large conference room rather than a venue. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the lounges are great on the Wish too, but I feel like they're just smaller. Like I just feel like it's just a thing for me. Like just the layout and this like those public areas that we go to just felt smaller to me, and that's just something I like the bigger spaces personally.
Gotcha.
Yeah, what I would say. So the Wish, I think, was more, and again, I think this, and again, this wasn't my first ship. My first ship was the Magic. I sailed the Magic the year Disney Cruise Line launched in '98. Then I sailed the Wonder when she launched. So my first ships were the classics, but my favorite ship's the Fantasy. I think part of that is because the Fantasy sails 7-night cruises. And I mean, who wouldn't want to be on this? You know, I love cruising. So of course I'm going to enjoy a 7-night cruise that goes to more ports, has more sea days. And it was a podcast cruise, and we had a huge contingent going with us on this podcast cruise. I mean, we had a hoot and a half. I mean, it was just the best of everything. So that's why I think I love the Fantasy so much. But besides that, the Wish is a beautiful ship. I mean, it is gorgeous. It's ornate, but also I think it has, to me, a connection with COVID. It was the ship that was getting all the buzz during the COVID thing. Like, and I know this sounds dumb, but like I have like 50th anniversary Walt Disney World stuff. Like I have a hoodie, I have a t-shirt, and I just don't want to wear it that much because it reminds me of a time that almost like subliminally makes me sad, because like that time just wasn't peak Walt Disney World. Like I remember, everybody had to wear masks, and stuff was spaced out and a lot of stuff was closed. I mean, I have this cool yellow hoodie that I like, but it sits on a shelf many times because it's a neat looking hoodie, but it's in the Wish, I think, is kind of compartmentalized a little bit because I think it was of that time where they were trying to keep things a little bit separate as to where the Fantasy and the Dream, and to me, the Fantasy and the Dream feel bigger than the Wish.
For sure. For me too.
Like when you say the Wish is the biggest ship, that still blows me away because when you're on the Fantasy and the Dream, they feel way bigger.
And the flow of the ships are so much better. Like the floor plans are better. Like, I don't know. It's just,
and Rhonda
we
Lee
definitely heard that consistently. The flow plans,
yeah, they flow a lot better. And like Rhonda Lee, she's up in Canada. She says her favorite is the Magic because it was her first cruise, but she also loves the Fantasy. And again, I think it is kind of what you first, experience because that's like your first, like, oh my gosh, this is like the greatest thing ever, which, I think that's kind of like our first trip to like Disney. You've heard me rave about Disneyland, summer of 22, right? I'll never forget that trip with Scotty G and his family, 4th of July, greatest trip ever. Like, cause it was my first time at Disneyland. I'll never forget that. Same thing. But, I don't know. I just think that I just like how the Fantasy and the Dream are laid out. Like in the back, you have all the adult areas in one spot. Like you go down, the adult areas are at the bottom. You go up, you got cabanas, you got the buffet. You go forward, the adult pools up forward. It's very easy. Stuff's easy to find, and the Wish is kind of like, and I get it, like stuff spread out so that it's kind of fun. It's adventurous, but I'm not of that layout, like mindset. That's just not how my brain works.
And Rogers, I have a random question for you, just because I'm curious. I haven't been on the Wish in like a year. Is it still like blazing hot everywhere on that ship? Because I was smoking hot.
We just talked about that. We talked about that 2 nights ago here at our house. Yeah.
It actually, it's funny you say that. My wife and daughter were carrying blankets around with them because they were cold everywhere on the ship. So maybe they got that feedback and listened to it loud and clear because they were having to take blankets with them anytime we went somewhere. If we went to go do trivia, it was like, grab your blanket. Let's go sit down and make sure that we're warm while we're doing our trivia. So yeah, we didn't notice that actually.
So that's really great to hear because like when I that's how like the Dream and the Fantasy are. So when I packed for this cruise, like I know I was going to get off the island at Castaway. We had a Walt Disney World trip too, but I packed so many like layers because like I love like layering up on the ship because like it just feels cozy. And man, that never was happening when we were on the Wish last summer. So it's good.
Especially.
Hey, well, tell me this.
Yeah, go ahead.
How do the staterooms compare? How do the staterooms compare on the Wish compared to the other ships?
So I think the decor and everything is better on the Wish. I love what they've done with those rooms.
I agree, they're better. Yeah.
And depending on what floor you're on, like it's like a different theme. Like it could be Tiana, it could be Rapunzel, Cinderella, etc. So I love that about the Wish. I think those rooms are absolutely stunning. And like the bedding, like everything about it. And I would say like the bedding, like the sheets and all that. I don't know how you slept, Rogers, but that was like the best night of sleep I'll ever have is on a Disney ship.
So good.
Those are the greatest beds.
The bed's 10 times.
I slept great.
Oh, so good.
I could have stayed up all night though. I didn't want to go to sleep. I just wanted to walk around the ship. I kept saying, me and my sister-in-law, her family joined us, and we were like, we could stay up all night and just walk around the ship all night long, And then you wake up in the morning, and the first thing you do is open up that curtain out the veranda to see, are we moving? Where are we at? What's going on today? So. But yeah, I love the rooms. I love the staterooms.
I love the bathroom.
Like it was well sized.
Yeah, and the bathroom setup I think is really good. I think Disney does a really good job on their staterooms. Now, granted, I have nothing to compare to. I will soon. I'm going to be sailing on a different cruise line soon.
Right.
Similar.
But,
Yeah.
So I'll be similar. So I'll be doing a lot of comparing, but like the way they design those rooms, like for the space, like you can really they get really creative with like where your luggage can go and all that. And I really do love the staterooms, and I think I do like them better on the Wish for sure.
Let me ask you this, Rogers, real
Yeah,
quick. So, as a first-time cruiser, were you shocked? Because there's so many people on that ship, right? I mean, it's a big ship with a lot of people. Because you said you stayed up late, maybe one night, or got up early. Aren't you shocked sometimes if you like get up super early or like stay up late and you walk around a deck and you don't see anybody around?
Nobody.
Isn't that crazy?
Nobody.
Like that's one of the things. Like when I walk around a ship, it still shocks me. I'm like, there are 3,000 people on this ship. And like, I'll walk around the top deck and I'll see like 6. I'm like, where is everybody? Like, it's crazy. But I love that. It's when I'm always taking pictures. I love it.
I'll tell you where there was always somebody. There was always somebody watching the movies out on deck 11, up on the funnel vision. There was always at least a couple of people sitting out there watching the movies on the funnel vision. But yeah, walking around, that was one of the things. I had somebody ask me, they were like, I just don't know if I could deal with all the people on the ship. I was like, it was crazy to me outside of like the sail away party or like, pirate night going out, to deck 11 for all the pirate night stuff. And then at dinner, obviously, the dining rooms are full. But outside of that, it doesn't feel crowded at all. Even when we went into the Walt Disney Theater to watch the shows, like, yeah, it's crowded when you get in there. And I mean, the place is packed. But once it's over, like everybody just disperses. It's like it wasn't crowded really ever, And so, yeah, I've had that thought several times, Mike, to where it's like, holy cow, just where's everybody at? Like, I know everybody's on the ship. Where are they all
It's
at?
crazy.
It's awesome. I remember on the podcast cruise, we had a crew that would stayed up late every single night, and we would do carpet angels on the atrium because there's like no one around. We're like, all right, let's just lay on the carpet and do angels. Like, we just had a blast. But did you like the theater too? That was I'm not trying to be all like putting the Wish down, but like the theater, I thought the seats. I mean, I know I've grown a little bit, so maybe that's part of it. But like, man, those seats were like so uncomfortable for me. I think they just tried to put more seating in, and it took out some space a little bit.
I will say I'm almost 6'4", and so there were times sitting in the theater to where I was like, oh yeah, it's not super comfortable sitting in here. But the shows are like an hour and 15 minutes. I'm like, I can do anything for an hour, right? Like, so
sure.
you kind of put up with it. But I will agree with that. In the theater, the seats were not the most comfortable. I felt a little bit cramped, as far as my knee space from, where I was sitting to the seats in front of me. I was always afraid, like, and if I move too much, I'm going to need this person in front of me in the back of the head, So that was definitely, I'll agree with you on that there, Scotty G, that it was a little bit crowded in there. And then even in like Luna, like when you show up to the bingo, early in the week, bingo wasn't crowded at all. There's $3,000 up for grabs. Nobody's coming for that, but for the $10,000, I mean, that place was packed. There was nowhere to go and nowhere to move in there, and we had the tablets all set up trying to play bingo, and it's like, wow, it is pretty cramped in here. But really, those were the only times that I would say, yeah, it wasn't comfortable. Even at dinner, with everybody in there for the dinners, and we had the late dining, so we didn't go to dinner till 8:15. But I mean, even in there, it was, it felt comfortable in all the dining rooms and stuff too. So, but yeah, the theater, little tight in the theater. Right.
And I like the ship. I don't want it to come off that like I don't like the Wish. I really enjoyed it.
I did too.
It's just I'm obviously I did the opposite of you, Rogers, where we did the Dream and Fantasy first, which I think I just naturally like those more. It's funny, Mike Jared and I were just kind of talking about this. He's recording an episode like on his vlog where he's gonna compare the Wish to the Fantasy because he's like, and he's struggling to come up with those points. He's like, he doesn't want to come off negative, and you don't, but you're just providing that constructive criticism of the ship. And either way, if you're on Disney Cruise Line, you're being well taken care of.
100%.
It's a great product.
Yeah, to me, the Wish is, it's very like it's like got a princess lean to it, especially the atrium. It's very white, it's very bright. It's got the kiss goodnight. None of the other ships have that kiss goodnight thing in the atrium.
Right.
Like we discovered that the last night. That was super cool. It's a touch that you got to discover, like at the theme park. It's like a theme park come to the ship. It's a great ship, but again, it's personal. so much with cruising is personal preference, right? And I think that's great because I don't want dupes. Scott talks about this, and the more he talked about it, the more I kind of came around to his way of thinking, right? We don't need clones in Disneyland and Walt Disney World. You need different experiences. You need a reason to go to Walt Disney World and a different reason to go to Disneyland. So you get two different experiences. Like, don't bring Cars Land to Disney's Hollywood Studios because you already have it. Let's do something unique and cool in the studios so that we have a different reason to go there. So having the Disney Wish being so much different than the fantasy and the dream, the magic and the wonder is a good thing, right? Because it scratches an itch for a lot of people. And will I sail her again? Absolutely. But I mean, not everything can be your favorite, but I mean, it doesn't mean I don't like it. There's a lot of things I like better. I didn't like the setup of Marceline Market, but it's okay. Like, it was just a little choppy and, hard to navigate, like on embarkation day, but it was fine. Like, I liked the staterooms better. I liked, there was a lot of stuff I liked. I liked the atrium. I like, so everything's got its pluses and minuses. It'll be, it's a good ship.
So what I'm hearing, Mike, is we will not be on the Wish for the next BOGP cruise because we're planning to come. So what I'm hearing is we're not going to be on the Wish, huh?
We will not. We will not be on the Wish, and we will not be on the Fantasy. So you can eliminate two of them.
Okay. All right. You said the news is coming this week?
It is probably.
Mike, I can't imagine
right.
how many times I hear it all the time. I can't imagine how many times Mike hears this question.
Okay, I'll give the big hint, and it'll probably come out this week, but it might be a week from this week. But it just depends. I have something going on to Monday that is going to determine if I can release it this week because of stuff that I have going on. If I'll have the ability to do all this work this week, so that it could be this week, it could be a week from this week. But I will say it's a brand new ship. And we'll go to a place.
Brand new ship for the podcast.
It's not a new ship. It's a ship that is currently sailing as I'm speaking right now, so you can narrow your things down. And we're going to go to a place that the podcast cruise has never gone. So take it as you will.
Okay. So we're going to the Mediterranean.
No, we're not going anywhere far. No,
yes.
No, we're not.
Let's do a Greek island cruise.
No. It's reasonable. It's out of Port Canaveral so that everybody can combine it with a Walt Disney World vacation to make it simple.
That's
for everybody.
awesome. I'm just giving you a hard time. Looking forward to the announcement. I know I've eaten up a lot of airtime tonight, guys. Thank you for everything you do.
It's a good call.
Everybody loves that you guys do these shows, so thank you guys for everything. And we'll be listening this week. Looking forward to this week's episodes.
You know what's going to happen though? Your daughter is such a athletic specimen. At 8 years old to do 4 parks, 35,000 steps. The University of Arkansas is going to be offering her a scholarship in whatever sport she wants, like tomorrow.
We're hoping swim. We'll take a scholarship for swim anywhere, anybody that'll take her. So, I would take that. Full ride, preferably. But even if they pay for part of it, I'll take it.
You're talking to two dads right now that are looking college bills straight in the eye. We hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, well, worst case scenario, maybe you can put a call into Paige for me. Maybe she can help out.
Yeah. She's living the glamorous life this weekend. She's a mover because all the new players are, arriving into Chicago and moving into their housing. So she's moving all the new players. So the glamorous director of basketball operations is moving boxes into dorms. That's what she's doing.
Oh, that is awesome.
I appreciate it. Well, Rogers, great call.
Thank you guys so much.
Happy birthday to your daughter. We appreciate it so much.
Thank you very much. Have a good night, guys.
You too. Talk to you soon. Have a good week.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, that flew by, didn't it, Mike?
It did, and that's another one. So let's do this again next. So you good one more week before you? Because I know you gotta.
Yeah, then I'm on hiatus after that. Yeah,
and then I'll be flying solo till I go for one. Good news is I only miss 1 week. I mean, that's bad news because I'll only be gone for 1 week. But I don't get to go for like you're gone 19 days.
19 days is how long,
dude. 19 days.
I've never taken that much time off before.
19 days. That's why.
I hope.
That's why.
I hope I still have money when I come back. I still, and I worry about bills too. Like I gotta like make sure everything's like paid. I mean,
You can pay that online. I mean, mine are all like auto bills, I think.
But it's just funny, man. I was just thinking like 19 days is a long time to like leave. It really is.
It is.
Like,
no kidding.
Your house,
Dude, your dog. When you get back, Oliver's gonna forget who you are.
I know. We're talking about like we better give him a nice grooming before we leave, and then like he'll come back and be like, "Oh, he looks exactly how he was before we left." Yeah.
Real quick, Chris in the chat over on YouTube says, "Just back from 4 nights on the Wish. I think it's much better for families with younger kids. Our 5-year-old boy enjoyed it much more, including the dinner shows." So there you go.
That's true.
Good take.
Our daughters are so grown up. We didn't really spend a lot of time in the Oceaneers Club, and I hear that a lot. That the Oceaneers clubs and all that are really great there too.
I did hear that. And Brooke, we're going to let you know soon. We're not going to Guam, Kevin. You're cracking me up, Kevin. We're not going there. All right. We are going to be back next Sunday night. So, of course, 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central. We'll be taking your calls for an hour. You just jump in. We'll talk. We love talking cruise line, Walt Disney World. Anything you want to talk about, the floor is yours. We got some great. Oh, by the way, Monday's show this week is a live call-in show because we had a last-minute cancellation. I opened up the phone line. So, you're getting a call-in show on Monday, tomorrow, and you're getting one on the feed, this one on Thursday. And then, of course, this week is going to be fun because it's going to be me and Scott again on Wednesday for listener questions. And on Friday, we're going to do a show. So if you have a topic you want us to talk about, hit us up in the clubhouse, beourguestpodcast.com/Discord. Let us know, and we will maybe tackle that show for Friday. That'd be kind of fun. Unless, Scott, you have something in mind. I don't.
No, that sounds great. I mean, you know how much preparation we put into these episodes. So,
all right, let everybody know about Must See Adventures one more time because
we just dropped a new vlog episode, our day 2 in southwestern Illinois, Edwardsville. So we tour Edwardsville. We're all over Route 66, stopping at some cool places. We get some frozen custard. It's a quick one, so let me know what you think. Do you like the shorter videos, the longer videos, something in between? Still playing around with it until the official vlog starts, which is when we get back from our summer trip, because we're gonna have so much epic videos when we come back. But yeah, please like and support the channel. Must See Adventures. Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, you went to lovely Maryville, Illinois for the
Maryville, Illinois.
Yeah,
that's right by. I think it was Collinsville, Illinois, which is on the Route 66 stop.
Right next to it. Yep, because
and we saw the biggest bottle of ketchup.
Yeah, that's in Collinsville. I've never seen. It's always on the news. I've never seen it in person. It's amazing because I played Legion baseball all around southwestern Illinois. Never seen the big ketchup bottle, but I was all over it. I don't know how I never seen it.
How did you not?
So I used to, when I speed skated, my speed skating partner, I speed skated one season in a 2 mixed relay team, and she lived right across the street from that in Maryville from that ice cream joint. So we used to get ice cream there all the time after practice. So we practiced twice a day, right before regionals and nationals. We practiced sometimes twice a day, 3 or 4 nights a week. And so the second practice was in Belleville. Now, Belleville was kind of far. It's kind of over by Edwardsville and Collinsville. It's a little bit south of where you were.
So many villas around.
A lot of villas over where you were in southwestern Illinois, but we'd swoop back up that way and get that ice cream at that place.
At Bobby's, right?
Bobby's. Yeah. Exactly. I was like, oh my God, you're at Bobby's. I've eaten a lot of ice cream at that joint. And then I drive home about 45 minutes to Florida.
And the special that week was ooey gooey, like gooey butter cake was the special that week.
Gotta get it. Yeah. So the shows, calling shows again for Kevin, 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and not Threads. It should be on Threads. I don't know. Because it's on Facebook. And it doesn't matter. All right, so we'd like to help you book your next trip. MagicForLess.com, no cost. We'll help you do that. Also, please use our Amazon affiliate link, beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And thank you to our patrons. You make this all possible. Patreon.com/beourguestpodcast. If you support us, just $5 a month, you get our bonus show. It's called Mike in the Midwest. This week we talked about part-time jobs over the summer, how I loved my part-time jobs when I was a teenager, like in high school over the summer. And Mallory's situation with her part-time jobs is driving me crazy. Even though she's got a good one, she's getting a second one. And also I talk about Scotty G's vlog in today's show. So you got to check that out. So I'm just telling you. Well, part 1.
Yeah, thanks for all the love, Mike.
And also I begged for part 2. And then like an hour later, bam, part 2 comes out. I mean, it's like things happened, but it was
and you are going to be in part 3.
Dude. The world is coming together for Mike Rallman. All right.
And
So
Riley,
check us out.
I gotta put the dude in there too.
There you go. Patreon.com/BRGuest Podcast. All right. So we are going to get out of here. Give Scott a follow. Scott in all the places. I'm at BRGuest Mike, and you're going to have a lot of us coming up on the shows this week. Hope you always enjoy that. If you enjoy the show, one last thing, please give us a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts. We would love that. That helps people find the show, and we don't ask very often, but if you have a few minutes, please drop into the app and just say some nice words and give us a 5-star review. We just, we need those, and it would really, really help us out. All right, Scott, I will catch you on Tuesday to record. We'll have shows on Wednesday and Friday. Thursday, we'll have the replay, and we'll get you, we'll have to work on that British accent here soon.
Right. I love it. It's the Mike and Scott week.
It is.
Always a fun time.
You know what? I was thinking this. There's a Wendy's commercial out right now that you need to watch because they do the British thing. They're like, they're trying to sell French fries or something.
All right, I'm going to seek it out right when we're done here.
Every time I see it, I think of you because they're like, would you like some French fries with that or something like? So you got to get ready, man. You're going to be in Europe. So
I'm ready.
All right, we're going to get out of here. So until we get back together again, for Scotty G, I'm Mike here in Missouri. You guys stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon.
You've been listening to the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. If you have questions, comments, or would like to be a guest on the show, please visit our website at beourguestpodcast.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you real soon.